is standing by.
Football. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
You know how I know it's the second part of the show? We're drinking coffee, Ed. It's like, at the end of your meal. A little coffee here at Water Street Grill, where we are every Thursday. Although actually next week we are going to be here on Wednesday night in a 7 to 8 o'clock shortened version of our show, Thanksgiving Eve. But that's next week. And, my first thought was when getting ready to introduce our next guest was how many teams in September, early September, would sign for an 8-2 season and being very much alive in the state sectional semifinals. I think just about everyone. But for Red Bank Catholic, these numbers are expected. And the Casey's, coming off the magical season where they won a state sectional championship, have suffered a couple of tough losses by a total of just 10 points. But the important thing, and I'm sure Coach will agree, is that they're playing tomorrow night. They'll visit St. John Vianney in the non-public Group 3 semifinals. We welcome in our good friend and the outstanding coach of RBC, and that is Coach Partella. Jim, thanks so much on Thursday night for giving us a few minutes.
Don't be silly, Kevin and Ed. Thanks so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Glad that we're still playing football. Absolutely.
I know you are. And I guess maybe one of the things this year that's a little bit different for you is, it's everyone usually coming to knock you off. Now, tomorrow night, and I'm sure you don't feel that way, but the general consensus is maybe you rate the role of the underdog.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I understand why people feel that way. That's an outstanding football team up at St. John Vianney, and it's the same situation we're in every year in the second round of the playoffs, whether it's St. Joe's or Montvale, Bergen Catholic in years past, St. John Vianney. You're going to play a great team in the second round, and that's what the challenge that we have ahead of us tomorrow night, and that's the exciting part of being in our bracket. You get to challenge yourself.
Coach, tell me about last week's victory over Pope John. You had to travel up there. That's not an easy trip. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, you're right. It's not an easy trip. It's a 75-mile trip, and, you're a Friday night team, and you have to go play during the day. And I just felt like our kids really, really, played well that day. Pope John is an outstanding team, very well coached, extremely well coached. We knew it was going to be an evenly matched game. It really was a great high school football game. A lot of fun to be involved in. It's a great atmosphere up there. We had great support. People traveled all the way up to come see us from Red Bank, which was a lot of fun. And Pope John had a bunch of people there. And I'm glad that our kids had a chance to experience that. Same way I'm excited for our kids to get that experience tomorrow night.
Coach, I know when I talked to you a couple of times throughout the year, and especially when I went up to cover Liam Smith's invitation to the All-American Bowl in California, you kept telling me about we're young, Coach, we're young, and it's going to take time to develop. Well, how have these youngsters developed this year?
They've developed great. Nobody's a sophomore anymore. Everybody's got a full season of football under the belt, so they're all juniors now. But, really, the young guys have come along well, but my hat goes off to our seniors, guys like Liam Smith and Eddie Hahn and Dylan Murphy, Mike Weiland, Mike Balzafiore, Charlie Gargiulo. I feel bad because I know I'm leaving some guys out, but our seniors really, really stepped up and have shown great leadership. And I think that's what's helped our young guys come along, and we faced some adversity, which is great for kids to experience because that's life. You're going to have your ups and downs. And the way we answered the bell and the seniors, kept their eye on the ball and didn't get negative, kept positive, kept pulling everybody along in the right direction. I have a lot of respect for this football team and the way they hung in there.
One of the things that has to please you about last week's win over Pope John is, you've relied offensively a lot on Eddie Hahn in recent weeks. He's put up some gaudy passing stats, but you kind of really played a little more smash mouth last week, ran the ball really well, over 200 yards on the ground, more of what we expect from Red Bank Catholic, and I think you'd probably agree with me that at this time of year, late in the season, you got to be able to run the ball with success.
Yeah, I think, I agree with that, obviously, and I think most coaches would. Any time of year, it's always great to be able to run the football, and usually the team that runs the football best will wind up winning the games. But with that said, different games get dictated to you different ways. Last week it was very windy up there. It was a cold day. The ball was a little slippery. It was hard to to catch and throw the ball. So it was a day where you had to run. And fortunately, our offensive line really came through, along with our tight ends and linebackers, and the running backs ran great. And throughout the year, I think we've on and off have had some good success running the football, and hopefully we can keep it up for a little while.
Coach, I'm going to help you out a little bit here because everybody knows Eddie Hahn was injured in the preseason in a scrimmage. I believe it was up at Montclair, correct?
That's correct. It was up at our first scrimmage. It was a quad scrimmage.
Right. So had a busted up knee, had to get it fixed. And the one senior who has really stepped up is Colin Shaughnessy, because he took Eddie's spot, and got you off to the right start, just what you needed at that time.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Colin, because he's one of the guys that I should have mentioned earlier, the leaders. Colin's a great leader. He's a very selfless kid. He'll do anything you ask of him, whether it's playing quarterback, playing safety, punting the ball, kicking field goals, running down under kickoffs. And I think he exemplifies the type of kids we have in our program, kids that'll do anything for the team. And, they understand the big picture that high school football's about, enjoying yourself and getting some good experiences and learning some life lessons. And, I think Colin's given way more to the program than he's gotten out of the program. But I hope that all of our kids take something away with them.
All right, this team you're playing tomorrow night, St. John Vianney, comes in with a 10-0 record. They've averaged 45 points a game. I'm not asking you for game plans here, but obviously offensively they're loaded with weapons. Is it a situation where you try and take a part of the game away and make them do something else by itself, or do you have to defend both the run and the pass and all the weapons they have?
So a couple of things, you bring up is, number one, you're right, they're explosive and they're outstanding on offense. I mean, Anthony Brown, I played Pop Warner with my son, and I've known him since he's been dynamite since he's been a little kid, and he's still dynamite. And they have a ton of weapons, by the way. It's not just Anthony. It's Khalil Haskins and the rest of the crew. They have 5, 6, 7 kids that you can name. But offensively, they're very explosive. But I think something that people fail to realize is how good they play in the other two facets of the game. They're outstanding in special teams. They play outstanding defensively. So, if you go in there thinking, if we stop their offense, it gives us a great chance. Well, you got to stop their offense. You got to figure out a way to move the ball, and you have to figure out a way to win the special teams game. So they're a great challenge. And offensively, you do have to be prepared to stop the run and the pass, because they're very evenly matched. If you look at them, I would say they're probably 50-50 in terms of yards gained on the year on the ground and running the ball. So again, I think people think that they're throwing the ball all over the place, but that's not really accurate. They're able to load it up and run the ball when they want to. So we have a challenge ahead of us, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, Coach, earlier in the year we had Eddie Hahn on the air here with us in his first game back. How important was it for Eddie to commit early to UConn to get that college process out of the way so he could concentrate on this senior year?
We've been fortunate to have a bunch of kids over the years, especially lately, last 5, 6 years, who've had Division I scholarships. And I think it's the same for all the kids as it is for Eddie. It's not important to commit to get it out of the way or to avoid distractions. It's important to commit when you really feel like you found the place that's right for you. I think that Eddie, talking to Coach Brown, who's the defensive coordinator and who was our recruiting area coach, and Coach Diaco, really, really felt comfortable with those guys and really, really felt comfortable about UConn. So rather than him putting that at risk, I think it was important to him to go ahead and commit because he felt so strongly about UConn. If you didn't feel that way, I don't think it's important to commit if you don't feel that way. Jack Tabb, a few years ago, didn't get that great feeling until later in the year, so he waited and he committed to North Carolina in December or January, I think it was. So every situation on the recruiting thing is different. I think it's when you really feel good about a place, why not go ahead and commit? When you're sure that that's the place for you, go ahead and do it.
That's well said, and of course you've had a lot of experience with it over these last few years. You've had so many Division I recruits. Ed mentioned Liam Smith is headed for Duke University, just another one. Jim, I'll ask you one more thing and I'll let you run, and that is, the one advantage, at least I feel, you would have going into tomorrow night is experience in these situations. You've gone through these playoff wars these last few years, and of course last year navigated the 3-game tournament. So, the thought process from someone might be, if this is a game in the fourth quarter, RBC knows what it's like. A little bit different for St. John Vianney because this is still relatively new for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that. I know St. John Vianney had a great year last year when they went up there and they battled with El Darden and played a great game. I was at them and I watched their semifinal game last year. So I think Coach Sinitsky's been around long enough. He knows how to win a tight game. I think those kids will learn from him what they need to know, and he's got them competing every day in practice, I'm sure. But the one thing I will say is that this year we've been in a lot of fights. We haven't had an easy game this year. We played a great schedule. So I don't know how much, with high school kids from one year to the next it makes a difference, but I do think that our kids are going to fight, and they're going to play, and it doesn't matter what the scoreboard says. Our kids are going to keep playing every play, and I think that's what's really important. Don't worry about the last play. You're going to win some plays. You're going to lose some plays. They can't help you anymore. Move forward to the next play. Get ready to play the next snap. And I think that's going to help us a little bit. And, of course, Coach Sinitsky is telling his guys the same thing.
Well, they better get there early tomorrow night if they want a good seat, because this is a game that's garnered a lot of interest, and I'm sure there'll be just as many wearing the green from RBC as there are wearing the gold and black from St. John Vianney. Jim, as always,
it's a great week for short conference
it
football.
Is.
I'm excited for everybody.
I agree with you. Having 15 teams still playing in the semifinals says a lot about the teams and the coaches down here, and you're one of those that we always enjoy talking to. So we wish you the best of luck, and if we don't get a chance to catch up again, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Hey, same to you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Always a pleasure. There goes Jim Portello, the Red Bank Catholic coach, one of the best in the business.
Kev, listen to this. I hope he's still listening, too, because I wanted to get this on the air, but we ran out of time. The last 6 games, Red Bank, Manalapan, Ocean, Jackson, Pope John, and now St. John Vianney. The toughest schedule in the Shore Conference, bar none. And
I said to you when we talked about this earlier, I think the one advantage Red Bank Catholic has is if this is a game in the fourth quarter, St. John Vianney is coasted week in and week out. Most of their games have been well decided by halftime.
Yeah, he couldn't say that, but
I just think like you
agree.
You have to wonder if it's different for the Lancers when they get challenged in the fourth quarter, and tomorrow night they may get that. Yeah. We'll see. But they've had a remarkable season, St. John Vianney. One more timeout. We come back and we switch to a little Hawks football. Monmouth Hawks with Coach Kevin Callahan. After this, you're listening to the Thursday Night Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.
Pain is something nobody should have to live with, and Thompson Healthcare and Sports Medicine uses a wide variety of techniques and services to alleviate and eliminate your pain and find out what's causing it. With a team of chiropractors headed up by Dr. Robert Thompson, their goal is to find the best treatment program for you. Whether it's chiropractic care, sports rehab, spinal decompression, medical pain management, or acupuncture, they are also certified active relief techniques providers. Thompson Healthcare and Sports Medicine is dedicated to making your life painless. They have offices in Lacey and Toms River and coming soon to Manahawkin. For more, visit njchirosport.com.
Hi, it's Dave from the Causeway family of dealerships in Manahawkin. Causeway knows it takes a great game plan and teamwork to keep our customers happy. Like free oil changes and loaner cars. Giving back to the community is another game winner. For 46 years, Causeway has supported countless local charities, schools, and sports teams. This year, Causeway is a proud supporter of Shore Conference High School football. Stop by Causeway Ford Lincoln and present your Shore Conference game ticket to win a 60-inch HD TV. Online at causewaycars.com. Causeway, the right way to buy your next vehicle.
Water Street Bar and Grill in downtown Toms River is the ultimate sports bar. With 32 HD TVs, Water Street brings you all the action of every football game. Located right on the water, Water Street is the perfect place to enjoy the finest views of the shore. Whether you want to grab a few drinks with friends, catch your favorite game, eat a delicious meal, or enjoy live entertainment every Friday and Saturday nights, Water Street is the place for a good time. Located across from Huddy Park on Robbins Parkway in downtown Toms River. Visit them at bakerswaterstreet.com.
This is a Leskis Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling news alert. It's going to be a bad winter. With cold temperatures fast approaching, don't get caught with heating issues. Call Leskis now for your heating system tune-ups and winterization. Ask about the Leskis heating contracts to ensure that your boiler or furnace are operating at optimal efficiency. So don't wait. Call Leskis Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today to schedule your service call. 732-349-3322. That's 732-349-3322, or visit LeskisPlumbing.com.
When it comes to sports, it's not about winning. It's about being in the game. hard work, practice, and support from the people around you. That's what it takes to get you in the game. And we know what it takes to keep you in the game. We are Barnabas Health. And just like you, we work hard every day so that everyone we serve can be healthy and stay healthy. Monmouth Medical Center, Monmouth Medical Center Southern Campus, and Community Medical Center. All Barnabas Health facilities, all committed to keeping you in the game. Life is better healthy.
For the latest high school football news, visit Shore.
Coach Callahan standing by.
News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310, and WOBMAM.com.
And for the final time prior to a game, we get a chance to chat with the head coach of the Monmouth University Hawks. He is Kevin Callahan. Monmouth will close out its season Saturday when they head down to Boiling Springs, North Carolina. I can honestly tell you I've never been there, as Monmouth will take on Gardner-Webb in what is the season finale. Both teams come in with records of 4-6, and both teams will look to finish their Big South schedule with 3-3 records. So this certainly may be the last game, but there's a lot on the line. We say hello to Coach Cal. How are you tonight, Kevin?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Good, and I know what a thrill and how delighted you were to close out your home schedule, especially for that group of seniors last week with a win over Presbyterian 21-16. No doubt a good moment for everyone associated with the program.
It was a great day, and I was, as you said, I was especially happy for our seniors. That it kind of led us into the Big South Conference, and to get that last home win and put ourselves in a position to finish third in the Big South this year, and only our second year in the conference, I think is outstanding. And those are guys like Joe Johnson, who's one of our seniors, John Sikowski, and then some other guys from the area, Demetrius Smith and Tymir Berry and Mike Basile. Those guys all played so hard, and it was great to send our seniors off with a win.
Coach, I'm going to impress you now. I think I've been to Boiling Springs, North Carolina.
You have?
Is that near?
Well, I haven't.
Is it near Charlotte?
It's about an hour. Southwest of Charlotte.
I think I've been
there. There's actually two Boiling Springs. There's a Boiling Springs, North Carolina, and a Boiling Springs, South Carolina, and they're 45 minutes apart.
Yeah, I've been to the one in North Carolina when my son was at Elon, and my many trips down the to the triad down there. I think I passed through Boiling Springs, but I think there was one red light, and that was it. But don't. But anyway, we want to talk football team and Gardner-Webb. Pretty similar season for them as for the Hawks, right?
It is. They're 4-6 right now, and they're playing really good defense. As a matter of fact, they're ranked nationally in FCS football in the top 15 in 10 different defensive categories. They make it very difficult on opposing offenses. They really limit your opportunities and keep you out of the end zone. On the offensive side of the ball, it's all about their quarterback. He has more carries than all of their running backs combined. He is the guy that throws the ball for them. So, he is the guy that you got to focus in on if you want to beat them.
Yeah, okay.
I was just going to say that would be Tyler Maxwell, their
Tyrell Maxwell.
Yes, Tyrell Maxwell, who's thrown for 910 and rushed for 715. So you are correct, and he is the main guy you've got to stop.
There's no doubt about that.
Any injury-wise, any guys hurt last week, Coach, who won't be able to go this weekend?
No, it looks like we're getting some guys back, actually. Last week, John Sikowski was a little bit limited coming off the knee that he hurt a few weeks ago, and, wasn't quite able to go. But, he's looked good this week in practice, so we're really happy to have him back. We're excited about that. Welch, who, was dinged up a little bit in the game, had, been hurt earlier in the season, came back, got dinged up. We had to go easy on him the first couple of days this week, but today he looked fine, so we're excited to have him back and give us kind of that 1-2 punch in the backfield with he and Levon Chaney. So that bodes well for us. And, I think, at this point we're starting to get some guys back, and I'm happy to say that.
That's a good thing. Hey, I wanted to mention a player last week who I thought, one of your seniors, one of your leaders, who made a couple of big plays for you in the second half, and that was Andrew Jerzynski. Now, a funny story, as you know, Kevin, I did the ESPN3 broadcast last week with Matt Harmon,
right.
And I found out about 2 minutes before the end of the game that I was going down on the field to do the post-game interviews. I thought Matt was doing that. So I said, well, what am I doing? Well, you're going to ask Coach Callahan a couple questions, and then you're going to ask Cody Williams a couple questions. So I run down on the field. I grab the microphone. I look at the guy, and he goes 3, 2, 1, and I get you first, and I turn around, and I'm ready to look down at Cody Williams, and I look up, but it's Andrew Jerzynski. Fortunately, I recognized 91 and was able to recover quickly, but he had a couple of big sacks for you in the latter part of that game.
Well, certainly in that last possession that Presbyterian had, he comes up with 2 sacks, and Cat Daddy, as we call him. I mean, it was a great way for him to close out his home career. And we're looking forward to him having another great day this Saturday.
Coach, it's all about team, but you've got the individual Mike Basile, who very possibly could break the Monmouth record for tackles in a season with 6 this week. Talk a little bit about Mike, as we seem to do every week.
He better break it. I think he needs 6 to break it this week, and if Mike doesn't have 6 in this game, we got to rethink what we're doing. But he's just had an outstanding year, and he practices the way he plays. He seems to play, and you guys have
2 minutes.
Plays at almost a different speed out there on the field, and he does that because he practices that way every single day. And we're so excited to have him here. He's a local guy. He's doing so well. And when you got him in the secondary with Joe Johnson from Manchester, Tymir Berry from Toms River South, and the 3 of them are back there together, that's a great group to watch.
Well, I know a little bit of emotion here as you head down your final trip with these guys, especially the senior class tomorrow, to get ready for Saturday's game at 1:30, which you can hear on the Shore Sports Networks 1160 and 1310. Kevin, have a good trip down. Be great to see you finish 3-3 in the Big South, and we'll look forward to wrapping up a little bit with you next week. So thanks very much, and wish you best of luck this weekend.
Guys, thank you very much for everything this year. I really appreciate it.
All right, this is Coach Kevin Callahan. We'll try and do a little recap with him next weekend. Maybe, Ed, what we do? Maybe we invite Coach Cal to come down next Wednesday.
He's done that before.
I know it's Thanksgiving Eve. He might have family obligations, but if not, we'll get him to come down and we'll buy him a burger. What do you think?
If he finds his way out of Boiling Springs, North Carolina.
Listen.
Get on the bus.
I did. I had heard that you were down there, and I heard when they found out your name was Sarluka, they said, hey, buddy, just turn that car around and go back home, Yankee.
And I did.
Well,
30 seconds.
This should be a fun weekend. Our Jersey Mike's game of the week tomorrow night will be at Ocean Township High School. The Big Red hosting the Bucks of Red Bank, one of the big games of this weekend. You can check out our Gold Coast Cadillac football picks at shoresportsnetwork.com. Who do we like this weekend? Ed, myself, Matt, and Bob will check out the website and find out. Bob's preview of all the games this weekend tomorrow. Thanks to all our guests, especially Steve Bush and Matt Dombrowski from Middletown North, Toms River North's Tim Peterson, and, of course, Jim Portell as well. Tom Tremblay, who makes it all work here, and, of course, Zach Collins back at the studios of the Shore Sports Network. Everyone, have a good football weekend. You've been listening to the Thursday Night Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.